Good morning everyone and welcome to my channel English Literature. Today we are going to talk about Perumal Murugan's novel Poonachi. And I have many books by Perumal Murugan. I can show you those books. These are the hard copies. Poonachi. Today we are going to talk about this book. You can see it. And now this one, it is current so. The font is not so prominent, but you can see current so. And this is Spire. And I have a lot of collection. Those are all the ebooks. I cannot afford all hard copy books, but I always prefer to read hard copies. You can smell them. The smell of books I love most. Just like a memory. Okay, today we will talk about Perumal Murugan's novel Poonachi. How long can an untold story rest in deep slumber within the dormant seed? I am fearful of writing about humans. Let me write about animals. In this book, at the very first chapter, The Dormant Seed, you can say that it is like a preface. Here the author writes, I am fearful of writing about humans, even more fearful of writing about gods. I can write about demons perhaps. I am even used to a bit of the demonic life. I could make it an accompaniment here. Alright then, let me write about animals. So, which animal he will write about? There is also some division, some choosiness. There are only 5 species of animals with which I am deeply familiar. Of them, dogs and cats are meant for poetry. It is forbidden to write about cows or pigs. That leaves only goats and sheep. Goats are problem-free, harmless, and above all energetic. A story needs narrative pace. Therefore, I choose to write about goats. So, from this point, the author chooses to write about goats. So, this is his motivation or the story behind writing about a goat. Poonachi. Actually, Poonachi, along with there is the name. You can see that Poonachi is not the title. I am showing you. The title is Poonachi and there is a story or the story of a black goat. So Poonachi, who is Poonachi? Poonachi is a black goat. Now come to the story. Perumal Murugan, I must introduce the author first, is a celebrated name in Tamil literature. His every fiction carries a significant mark cutting deep in human psychology. When you will go through this novel, you will understand how deeply he can keep a mark in your understanding, in your contemplation, and that human psychology that is generated from his scrutinizing survey on human life and experience. He minutely offers everything that he experiences in his life and he observes in others' life. So Poonachi is not only a story of a black goat, but it is a symbolic representation of human life and existence. Now, this is the book. This is my book. I just take a picture like this. For my blog, I have told you that I have blog on book discussion, that is blogalvina.com, and for that blog I take this stylish picture. I don't know how stylish it is looking, but I just put this. There is a bowl of water. You can see this bowl of water is just kept in our garden for the birds in summer to drink from it, and I just put on the brink this book and take a picture. The story. In a semi-arid stretch of land known as Odakam Hill, there lived an old man with his old wife. So the story starts like the general story we used to read in our childhood books. There was a long ago, there is an old man and an old woman. In this way, just like a storytelling way, very simple storytelling way, the novel starts. There is no complexity or bombastic word structure or no verbosity. And then what happened? Their life is full of struggle and hardship. To survive in relentless adversities with a flock of sheep and goats to sustain with. Poonachi, a black goat named by the old woman. So old woman who named the goat Poonachi, the old woman, came into their family from a mysterious source. When you read the novel, you will find that one day the old man was with his other sheep and cattle. Then he will meet and demonic figure, mysterious demonic figure, and the demonic figure will just provide him that a black, like just a black mud, a small source, that the expression is there. He just put him there and he feel what is it. He even don't understand that it is a goat. Okay. Dropped like a piece of dung. Look, she is no ordinary kid. Okay, the demonic person is telling the old man. Her mother birthed 7 kids in a litter. After she delivered the 6th, I thought it was all over and only the umbilical cord would be left. But she contracted her body and pushed hard once more. This was slid out as the 7th and dropped like a piece of dung. So it was just like a piece of dung, black and very soft, small. She is truly a miracle. Look at her, the giant said. So in this way, Poonachi came in the old man's family, totally a mysterious type and totally different from the other goats and sheep. And the old woman named her as Poonachi. Sweet name. A figure of a man elongated in the light of dusk one day handed the old man the lump of black dung, a wee goat kid, and then vanished altogether. So the appearance is like something mysterious, something sacred. You can tell it demonic, auspicious. Afterwards, Poonachi started growing up in the intensive care and cuddle of the old woman. Though the old woman was grumbling at first, but after that he loved her. She took every bit to feed and heal this undernourished baby, discarded and shunned by other goats and kids. The other goats of this family don't like this kid at all. They always try to throw her away from them. Don't play with her, don't take her in their heart. But the old man always try to solace her, try to soothe her, give food, nourishment, so that she can be strong. From the very beginning, Poonachi's life was at a knife's blade. Either the eagle or the voracious wildcat tried to steal her at night, carrying in the maw. Actually, Poonachi is so little, so feeble, like a black dung. So you can imagine all the other animals, they tried to take him, snatch him. And even one night, a wildcat will just catch him in his throat and try to kill and take her away. But the old woman, in the meantime, fight and rescue her. And it takes so many days to again bring her to health. He was so became ill. Again, she got lost in the labyrinthine jungle route during their journey to the couple's daughter. Again, actually, Poonachi's life is full of struggle. When the couple was going to their daughter's house, that was far long and they had to travel a lot through the jungle, Poonachi get lost. Poonachi is such a wee type and so feeble, wee looking, small, tiny, that she became the victim of others' animal, or otherwise she get lost. Uniquely, the constant careful vigil of the old woman keeps her alive amidst all adversities. The old woman searched for her in the jungle. I don't want to go to my daughter's house without her. She can left her, but she did not left her. She searched for the goat and then rescued her. But there are sufferings. Though Poonachi's life was hard, later in her life she proved to be a miracle goat, pouring wealth on the old couple, whose greed snatches away every kid of Poonachi, leaving her in utter dismay and distress. So the old man and woman did everything for Poonachi, particularly old woman. But then Poonachi will be taken as a miracle. I like miracle goat. Miraculous divinity will be attributed on Poonachi. And what will happen then? When Poonachi will give birth to at a time 5 or 6 kids, I can remember the appropriate number, all the kids will be taken away from Poonachi. Even Poonachi will love another goat, but that love will also be snatched away from her. So Poonachi's life is always suffering and heartbreaking. Puban is the other goat whom Poonachi loves, but Poonachi was not allowed to live with Puban. Puban is the goat from the old couple's daughter, and when Poonachi will visit them, Poonachi will fall in love with Puban, and the love will be mutual love, and Puban will also love Poonachi. But Poonachi will have to come back with the old woman, whereas she is jealous of other goat. That goat will live with Puban. So she will be devoured of Puban, but she will give birth to the kids from Puban. But that kids will also be snatched from her in the name of miracle. They will be just sold, and the old couple will get enough money. They will buy jewelries, and they will just live lavishly for some days. She was worried from having experienced all the sorrows of the world. And when finally Puban was killed in the name of sacrifice, again after many years she will visit the old man's daughter's family again, and there he will again meet Puban. But that night, after that night, Puban will be killed. That part is very pathetic. When you will go through that part is very pathetic and heart-wrenching. When Puban was killed in the name of sacrifice, she felt terrible. She stored Puban's memory in her always. Poonachi never ran short of memories of Puban. And that part when Puban is taking away, Puban is screaming, Poonachi is screaming, and Puban's dead body is being, those things just like human world, human suffering, human detachment, human bereavement. Actually, Poonachi is not a goat character. Poonachi is a human. Poonachi is the representation of human life in the name of a goat. Poonachi's love, Poonachi's suffering, and those things we are not want to do in our life, but we are forced to do. These all are attributed here. Poonachi's love for her perfect match was not given importance, but he was forced to do sex with another goat whom she did not like. So these things are expressed through the life of a goat, but I think, and it is very prominent, that all these things are the representation of human life, human suffering, human desire, and human devastation. Being estranged from all her dear kids, her love, Poonachi realized the meaningless existence of her life. All the love the couple showed her had shrunk to the length of this rope. So Poonachi was finally forced, tethered through a rope. And this line is awesome. She realized that all the love the couple showed her had shrunk to the length of this rope that the old man had twisted for her. Wrath of nature. Now the good time for the old man has gone, and the good time for everyone. Human cruelty and indifference to animal suffering cannot surpass nature's rage. One day drought and famine transgressed the human hearts. Not a blade of grass had sprouted in the field, and the fodder's pile had dwindled to the size of a lintu. The fodder was piled for the stockpiled for the food, but they are gradually decreased and nothing was left there. The couple tried hard to survive with the dried meat and to feed. The old woman tried to feed the pregnant Poonachi, because if Poonachi can get pregnant, and if Poonachi can give birth to the kids, they can sold them, but nothing was sufficient. Poonachi was emaciated and looked like a bag of bones. A miracle or a curse. So now they are discussing, is Poonachi a miracle or Poonachi a curse? Till then it was in their mind that Poonachi is a miracle, because Poonachi give birth to many kids at a time and the kids are sold at good price, they make things, they live a luxurious life. But when famine and drought devastated their land and there is nothing to eat, nothing to feed the cattle, so they are thinking, is Poonachi a miracle or a curse? So when you are in use, you are just celebrated, and when you are not in use, you are just debunked as curse. When Poonachi started bestowing the couple with money, gold, popularity, they applauded her as a miracle. And as soon as drought and famine lashed out the country, they started cursing her as ominous. So this is the contradiction of situation. Ever since this cursed thing entered our house, she has cleaned out all the live animals from here. Now she will wipe out the humans too. Just wait and watch. Who told this? The old woman. Poonachi, symbolic representation of the human world. You find the George Orwell's Animal Farm. Have you read it? Or I also make a video on Animal Farm. You can go through it. Then you find that George Orwell in this Animal Farm just represented those characters from history, and Lenin, Stalin, all those, and the Commonwealth world, Marxism, all are represented to the animals. And that pig world, that animal world is again here. You can find that here it is in through the character of Poonachi, the goat world. Poonachi explores a wider range of human world, or an allegory of that. Poonachi is not a female black goat. She is a complete human figure with feminine attributes. Her deep love and longing for Puban, her jealousy for Purami. So Purami is the character, the another goat. Actually Poonachi loves Puban, and they live where Puban lives. Puban lives in the house of old woman's daughter. And Puban also loves Poonachi, but Purami has to live with Puban, and Poonachi has to come back with the old couple. So that was the first heartbreak on the part of Poonachi, that she has to leave Puban, and again at the same time she has to leave Puban for Purami. That she cannot tolerate. Her abhorrence for the old ram, I already told you that she was forced to do sex with an old ram that she did not enjoy at all, and she feels very dirty. And tall, lanky goat. It was enough to make her feel small and humiliated. And her suffering, passion, suppression, all are too feminine and potent. Ironic reflection of human society, that is another point we will discuss. Again, this book is an ironic reflection of human society, fretted and fettered in multi-layered hegemony of unsolicited hierarchies and class struggle. There is several linear subplots. Again, you can tell that those are not subplots but themes. Several linear themes are going on through this novel. And and those themes you will find that power struggle, hegemony, the struggle for between the social stratas are found here. It is an oblique indication of the society of abuse, power politics, insatiable greed and helplessness. The structural injustice embedded in the life of a female in a patriarchal society. So this age-old theme of patriarchal society's bondage over women is also represented here, is well established here. The image of a totalitarian society is portrayed so sarcastically that fixes our attention to the integrity of the author's contemplation and attitude. This totalitarian society that we also found in Animal Farm by George Orwell, and here you will find that representation. There is the story of Poonachi, a black goat, and her life. But throughout the novel, along with this story, you will find these several themes They are going underline, but very prominently. Oppressive state apparatus. The official practice of ear piercing. There is a ritual you will find here. Ear piercing. You have to pierce your ear. The goat kids and every animal ears have to be pierced. Why? Ears have to be pierced to mark that you are born. So you will be taken under the calculation, the registered. You will be registered that you are now the citizen of this world. So this ear piercing ceremony, here peoples of all ages come with their cattle and sheep and goats, and they just in long queue for a whole day, covering a long distance, a long standing queue with the lambs and goat kids. The old feeble poor person waited for the official's call to pierce the ears of them as a means of enlisting their names and official stamp to their legal birth. It is just like our birth certificate. Speak softly, sir. The regime has ears on all sides. It reminds me Big Brother, George Orwell's 1984. That the regime has ears on all sides. Everyone is hearing. Speak softly. Don't speak against the authority. There is an old saying that the regime is deaf. When the regime is deaf, when there is problem, there is suffering, they are deaf. But when it is about their self-interest, they are not deaf at all. It is deaf only when we speak about our problems, when we talk about the regime. Its ears are quite sharp. So you understand? Common people understand everything, but they are helpless. They cannot do anything. They cannot go against the society, against the authority, against the power holders. But they understand that they are deaf only when we speak about our problems. But when we speak against them, their ears are quite sharp. Such brilliant line. I love Perumal Murugan. All the citizens know very well about the appropriate behavior towards the regime. They had the mouths only to keep shut, hands only to make obeisance, knees only to bend and kneel. So they are just sycophant, backs only to bend and bodies only to shrink before the authorities. What a witty and valiant delineation is it in the proficient pen of Murugan. So these lines, every lines just mark that how minutely and contemplatively the author has painted the picture of real society without any cloak. Lives of animal. As we track the destiny of this orphan goat, shaped by a force field of humans and animals, we realize that the author's real theme is our own fears and longings, primordial urges and survival tactics. Through this exploration of the life journey of an animal, Murugan leads us deep into the intimate history of humanity. I have already told you. And in this book, at the end of this book, you will find that there is a discussion critical analysis translator's note. You can find at the very end of the novel, and there you will find a critical discussion by Kollan Raman, and it will help you to understand the novel more. And these are the things. Novel again flips the dirty and cruel practice of our society. Animal killing in the name of sacrifice. It is given importance here that animal killing in the name of sacrifice to God, as Puban was killed. Death can come to a buck kid at any time. Buck kid means male kid. We die for meat. We die for sacrifice. We can die for any means. In its pristine crystal prism house, the novel stores myriads of implications hidden, waiting to be discerned by our cognitive acumen. So I must suggest you go through the novel. No matter how much you give to this heart, it will never be enough. Who told this? Poonachi. Poonachi gives and gives, but she gets nothing in return. You must go through this novel. I and you will feel how deeply the author has narrated and woven the themes, knitted so smoothly and beautifully. Okay, thank you. And later we will talk about Perumal Murugan more and about his novels. Bye.